If your life feels stuck right now, if something inside you feels tight and restless, as if you're running but going nowhere, then don't blink, because this is not motivation and it's not comfort. This is a Stoic wake-up call. And we'll skip the polite greeting, because as Marcus Aurelius warned, time does not wait for confused minds. We begin at the sharp edge. The first Stoic principle says, your life is not destroyed by events, but by the meaning you assign to them. People disrespect you. Plans collapse. The world feels unfair. None of these break you on their own. What breaks you is surrendering control to things that were never yours to command. Stoicism draws a hard line between what is within your power and what is not. And most people ruin their lives fighting battles. They were never meant to win, chasing approval, fearing opinions, begging circumstances to change, while the Stoic understands one brutal truth. Mastery of the self is the only real freedom. Epictetus said that if you want to be invincible, make peace with the fact that most things are not up to you. And this single realization can instantly remove years of anger, anxiety, and wasted energy. Imagine how different your days would feel if insults lost their sting. Setbacks stopped shaking your identity, and chaos outside no longer dictated peace inside. This is not emotional numbness, it is disciplined clarity. Throughout this video, you will hear principles that have survived empires rising and falling, rules that shaped emperors and slaves alike, not because they promise happiness, but because they teach strength. Stoicism does not ask you to escape reality. It demands that you face it without flinching, without complaint, and without surrendering your inner command. If something inside you is already nodding, already recognizing this truth, then you are exactly where you need to be, because this is only the beginning. And in the next part, you'll see how these principles quietly merge into everyday life, reshaping your reactions, your habits, and ultimately, your destiny. And now the second Stoic principle begins where most people resist the most: responsibility. Because Stoicism teaches that blaming the world is the fastest way to weaken yourself, while owning your response is how power is built. The moment you stop saying, "This happened to me," and start saying, "This is mine to handle," your life shifts direction. Not because reality changed, but because you did. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he would meet rude, selfish, and ignorant people, not to become bitter, but to become prepared. And preparation is what separates inner strength from emotional chaos. Most people wake up hoping for easy days. The Stoic wakes up ready for difficult ones, understanding that resistance sharpens the mind, the same way friction sharpens steel. This principle demands that you stop asking why life is hard and start asking how you will respond with discipline, dignity, and restraint. Anger feels powerful in the moment, but it gives control away, while calm action quietly takes it back. When you accept that hardship is not a curse but training, setbacks lose their power to humiliate you and instead become instructions. Stoicism does not promise comfort. It promises competence, the ability to stand steady when things collapse, to speak less and observe more, to act deliberately instead of emotionally. Imagine moving through conflict without the need to prove yourself, through failure without self-pity, through success without arrogance. This balance is not accidental, it is practiced. Every day gives you countless chances to train this principle, in traffic, in conversations, in disappointment, and even in silence. The Stoic understands that character is built in moments no one applauds, and that true strength shows itself not when life is easy, but when pressure reveals who you really are. Carry this forward, because in the next part, you'll learn how desire itself can either enslave you or set you free. The third Stoic principle cuts even deeper because it targets desire itself, the silent force that controls most lives without being questioned. And Stoicism warns that the more you demand life to give you specific outcomes, the more fragile you become. People say they want success, respect, love, or peace. But what they really want is control over results. And this attachment is exactly where suffering begins. Seneca observed that it is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the man who desires more, because unchecked desire turns every achievement into dissatisfaction. The Stoic does not kill ambition. He disciplines it, aiming not at what he hopes to get, but at how well he behaves while pursuing it. When you tie your happiness to outcomes you cannot fully command, you place your inner state in permanent danger. But when you tie it to effort, integrity, and restraint, nothing external can truly threaten you. Imagine working toward your goals without anxiety about timing, approval, or comparison. Moving forward calmly while others burn themselves out chasing validation. This principle teaches voluntary discomfort, not because pain is noble, but because dependence is dangerous. By occasionally choosing less, you remind yourself that you are already enough and that comfort is a preference, not a necessity. The person who can walk away from excess cannot be controlled by it, and the person who needs little is impossible to intimidate. Stoicism reframes success not as accumulation, but as self-command, where wealth, status, and praise become optional bonuses rather than emotional lifelines. When desire is trained, not suppressed, clarity replaces craving, patience replaces urgency, and freedom replaces fear. Hold on to this understanding, because in the next part, we confront one of the Stoics' most powerful tools, the deliberate use of adversity itself. The fourth Stoic principle turns what most people fear into a weapon, adversity, because Stoicism teaches that obstacles are not interruptions to the path, they are the path itself. Where others see misfortune, the Stoic sees training, and this shift alone separates those who collapse under pressure from those who grow sharper because of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that fire does not destroy what is strong, it strengthens it. And the same law applies to the human mind when hardship is met with reason instead of complaint. Most people waste their suffering by resenting it, replaying it, or asking why it happened, while the Stoic asks only one useful question: how can this improve my character? Pain is inevitable, but wasted pain is optional. And every setback contains a lesson for the person disciplined enough to look for it. This principle introduces negative visualization, not to create fear, but to remove shock. Because when you regularly imagine loss, rejection, or failure, they lose their power to surprise and control you. The mind that rehearses difficulty is calm when difficulty arrives, while the unprepared mind panics and reacts emotionally. Adversity reveals who you are, not because it changes you, but because it removes comfort and exposes your habits. The Stoic does not seek suffering, but he does not run from it either, understanding that ease weakens what struggle sharpens. When challenges appear, instead of saying, "This shouldn't be happening," the Stoic says, "This is exactly what training feels like." This mindset builds quiet confidence, the kind that does not need reassurance or applause because it has already survived pressure internally. Over time, obstacles stop feeling personal and start feeling instructional, like a demanding teacher shaping discipline through repetition. Remember this, because the next principle will confront something even more uncomfortable: the Stoic relationship with time, mortality, and urgency. The fifth and final Stoic principle unites everything you've heard into one demanding standard: live in alignment with virtue. Because for the Stoic, a good life is not measured by pleasure, success, or comfort, but by character. Stoicism defines virtue as wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline, and teaches that anything outside these is secondary, temporary, and ultimately unreliable. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet reminded himself that power meant nothing if his actions were not honorable. And this is the core Stoic test. Not what you achieve, but how you behave while pursuing it. When your values guide your decisions, chaos loses its ability to confuse you, because you no longer ask what is easiest or most rewarding, only what is right. This principle removes regret, because even when outcomes fail, integrity remains intact. The Stoic does not chase happiness. He builds a life that does not require constant reassurance. Acting with virtue creates inner coherence. Your thoughts, words, and actions stop fighting each other, and peace emerges naturally. This is why Stoicism endures across centuries, not as theory, but as a practical operating system for life under pressure. If you apply even one of these principles consistently, your reactions will change, your priorities will sharpen, and your sense of control will return, not over the world, but over yourself. These ideas are simple, but they are not easy, and they reveal more each time you hear them. So revisit this video when distraction returns or discipline weakens. If this message resonated, watch it again with fresh attention. Let it sink deeper. And if it brought clarity or strength, support the channel by pressing like. Not out of habit, but as a signal that timeless wisdom still matters in a noisy world. Live deliberately, act with virtue, and let the rest unfold as it will.